So being a beauty witch and working with Aphrodite go hand in hand. However, you do not need to work with Aphrodite to be a beauty witch. I just wanted to give you that little piece of information before I start with this video. This is not going to be a comprehensive video on Aphrodite because, one, I feel like you can figure a lot of this stuff on your own. In fact, I think that you should be able to figure things out on your own. If you want to start working with Aphrodite, the first thing you should do is research on her background. I do want to recommend Venus and Aphrodite by Bettany Hughes, or is it Aphrodite and Venus by Bettany Hughes? Great resource if you want to learn more about the background. But also I have Pagan Portal's Aphrodite by Iris Anya Moon. Just some resources for you to begin your work with her. So this is going to be a how do I, ricky.odriosola, work with Aphrodite. Let's talk about what I think is probably one of the funnest things to do when you're starting your Aphrodite work, and that is an altar. It's just a general space to work with the deity. Usually, you don't really need the whole shebang. In fact, I think my altar is probably one of the most minimalist altars for Aphrodite that you're gonna see. There's some people on TikTok especially with beautiful altars, little antiques and trinkets that look so gorgeous. I personally do love the aesthetic of it, but just for me, myself and I think a more minimalist look works. So an altar generally is just a dedicated space to said deity. You do not need a whole statue. You could have a painting of Aphrodite. You could have a shell that represents Aphrodite, a little dove trinket, anything that represents Aphrodite to you. However, let me preface this by saying that I have seen other practitioners say that Aphrodite almost demands to have a space. While that is true for me too, I don't think it's necessarily something that she will like be angry at you if you don't have it, or she will not want to work with you if you don't have the resources for it, if you don't have the space for it. But I do think that maybe down the line she'll probably give you a little nudge like, hey, how's about I get my space now? Like, but if you're just starting out, I think a general space, a shelf where you get ready in the morning, or a vanity, a bedside table, has to be a space that you feel called to work there. Deity work is very personal work, and what I say and what works for you is going to be different. So whenever I say something, feel it out. I think if you have just a space with maybe a candle like this, that would work as an Aphrodite altar. Start very minimal and just add on to it over the years. And generally, I do think that's how you should go about it. I don't think you should get everything all at once and just set up your altar, although you can do that, I guess. I think it works better when you accumulate things over time. That way you get things that really call to you. Next thing is, you obviously want to put things on the altar that represent Aphrodite, which is where your research would come in hand. So I always like to have roses, always have fresh roses for her. I think there's been a few days here and there where I won't have fresh roses, and that's because it's the in-between time when a bouquet is dying and I haven't picked up new ones yet. I always have a little salt lamp that is not on right now, but I will turn it on, I promise. And this candle right here is not for Aphrodite. This is a candle that she is charging. Also, rose quartz are obviously very Aphrodite coded. They're very important when it comes to love spells or any beauty spells. I have a variety here. I do want some more, but I am waiting to find ones that I actually like. I don't just want to buy things. I also have, wait, oh God. Aphrodite didn't give me. She's like, no. So I also have a rose quartz pendulum that I use to communicate with her for simple yes or no answers. Honestly, I do not really use this. I will use my Aphrodite deck. Tarot is not my strong suit. I still have to look at the booklet from time to time. Also, I have the mosaic pillars that are Greek coded. I've actually had those even before I started working with Aphrodite. I've had them for a while. When I was making the altar, they popped into my head and I was like, wait, those would look really good on it. And Aphrodite is like, boy, they would look really good on my altar. And so I put them up there. And now they're hers. So let's talk offerings. Offerings are basically a symbol of your appreciation. I think also relationship building. I haven't done this recently, but I used to always offer Aphrodite fresh fruit. Apples usually, figs when they're in season, pomegranates, grapes. Recently, a lot of my offerings have been tea lights to her that have been dressed in Venus oil. You can also dedicate actions and creativity to her. So for example, when you get ready in the morning, beautifying yourself, doing your hair, maybe makeup, all that has to do with keeping up your appearance and beauty. You can dedicate those actions to her simply by saying or thinking like, I dedicate this to Aphrodite, and really feeling it as though you're offering the essence of that action to her. Why? Offerings are relationship builders. I want to make sure that the archetype that is Aphrodite, that energy, knows that I am here and present and I want to keep working with her. I'm still putting my energy into you, into what you represent, and I hope that you take it and see me as a worthy devotee and witch. However, it could also be your creative projects. If you're a writer, if you're a singer, if you're a dancer, or you paint, you can dedicate that work to her. Creativity just flows through you when you're working with Aphrodite. My creativity comes with video making, whether it's here or on TikTok. I love the editing process. I love being able to communicate something and put it out into the world and see how it's received. That's my creativity working, which is why I love doing this. You can also dedicate certain actions. Not gonna go too deep into this because I don't want my video to get flagged for anything inappropriate, but let's just say that there are human experiences, sometimes really great experiences that feel so good that you can dedicate to her. Yeah. Also, we can take it down a notch. You can dedicate having a good meal or drinking a drink that you enjoy. You get your guava juice. I like guavas. You get your guava juice and you say, I dedicate this to Aphrodite. Or you can say, Aphrodite, join me as I drink this. And as you take it in, really step into that moment of the flavors and the smell and the liquid pouring down your throat. It takes you into the present moment where you're really living it. Aphrodite is all about feeling good and what pleasure can we get out of life. And so when you find those bits of pleasure and you dedicate it to her, build your relationship to be a wonderful thing because you guys both want the same things. Okay, so let's talk beauty. I guess I've always liked or loved the idea of aesthetically pleasing everything. I value how something looks so much. I want to put this in a way that doesn't sound shallow, but I'm just going to speak from the heart. I think life is meant to be enjoyed to the fullest. And part of that enjoyment comes from pretty things, beautiful experiences, beautiful people. And that, I think, makes the human experience a pleasurable one, an exciting one. It's why we're here. We want to experience what it is to be a human. And yes, we're gonna have moments of not so great stuff happening. However, I believe in the bounce back. Even on your lowest low, keep in mind that you're always gonna go back up. And I generally like to live in the back up. The backup, I don't know what that is. I just made that up right now. When I look at a beautiful thing, it represents pleasure and enjoyment and joy in its fullest. It might seem very shallow for me to say like, oh, I prefer that candlestick because it's pretty. But it's not just that. It's the work that went into it, the creativity, the arches that make it look gorgeous, the way you're always gonna look at it and feel inspired because there's so much inspiration when it comes to beauty. The uniqueness of it, the soft regalness. Am I going too deep into it? I don't know. Beauty is a state of mind, a consciousness that is always there. And when it manifests itself in the purest, most aligned way, it becomes beautiful. So when I say I like beautiful things, that's what I mean. When you're on top of a hill and you look at the scenery, blue skies meeting the trees and the city lights, and it all looks beautiful and there's cohesiveness and unison and there's love. And love not in a romantic way, but in that like unifying force that Aphrodite reigns. It's just beautiful. I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know if that makes me seem shallow, but I like beautiful things. And I think that we should all aspire to be beautiful. So anyway, back to Aphrodite. I think working with Aphrodite helps me get there because she is the goddess of love and beauty. Ergo, therefore, when you hang around with the goddess of love and beauty, you begin to take in some of those traits. It's like when they say, you are the 5 people you hang around with most. The goddess of love and beauty, then that's gonna be you. Not fully. We're not gonna get to Aphrodite level, but we can aspire. And that's what counts. When you start working with her, you will begin to feel inspired to act in certain ways that will benefit you aesthetically. Like you will be inspired to maybe a new makeup routine. You'll come across something, you'll realize like, oh, maybe I could try this for my home. Or someone, will recommend a product to you. When you start working with her, you just get things here and there to simply help you become a better aesthetically pleasing version of yourself. The process of working on my body, which is something that I'm taking very seriously right now, has been slow. Now that I look back on it, I can see how I've changed over time. Thought patterns that I used to have in regards to how I ate, I was exposed exposed to more workout routines, more knowledge when it comes to the gym. I was exposed to, spoke about this in the last video, buying more organic stuff, things that are better for my body, better for my skin. I've been taking more collagen. I have Botox in my forehead. Can you tell? You become inspired over time in ways that make you a better looking person. And I'm saying that in the most shallow way. The person you are now is perfect. I'm not saying you need to change it. However, I'm trying to think of a way to say this that doesn't sound mean or harsh, but you can always find a way to improve your self-image and therefore improving your confidence. Cannot stress enough how much it's helped to work with Aphrodite, because your confidence skyrockets and so do your standards. You realize there's so much in this world that I deserve, and I wasn't letting myself have it before because I wasn't seeing myself as this beautiful god or beautiful goddess. Also, drinking. She's helped me stop drinking. My standards had gone up and alcohol was not serving me. I could still go out, have fun, and pull whoever I want, but I don't need a drink to do that, you know? So here we are. So let's talk about, how do you actually work with Aphrodite? Ricky, what do you actually do? Almost every single morning, usually every weekday, which is a meditation / segment of appreciation. Got that from Abraham Hicks. Setting me up for the day segment of alignment. Quiet my mind, focus on my breathing with Aphrodite in front of me, taking in that energy that's coming from her, that love energy, and just focusing on my breath. And it's almost a feeling of like, it's gonna be okay, I am safe, but I don't even think about anything. All I'm focused on is that feeling of the air going in my nostrils and out my nostrils. Meditate for maybe 5-10 minutes, you know, really calm myself down. But let me tell you what I really like to do. I like to have music when it comes to my segments of appreciation and raising the frequency. I have, depending on the occasion, usually very witchy songs, usually Lana. Season of the Witch. Oh, recently Agatha All Along. I will pop up some songs here. Put on your AirPods, feel the music, listen to the lyrics, and just feel the energy. Let your body begin to, you know, sway if it needs to. Let your arms do their thing. I've always felt the energy in my hands, listening to music and raising the vibration. This will last anywhere from like 20 minutes, 25 minutes. I also have my rose moon water that I use whilst I'm doing that. Usually I'll take a swig of it, dedicate that drink to Aphrodite, get a little cap full of it, pour it on her statue. I don't know why I started doing that. I think Aphrodite likes to be bathed in rose water. When they're in season, sometimes I'll have some figs that I'll eat dedicated to Aphrodite whilst I'm raising the frequency. That is generally what I do with her every single day for that connection and to help me with my day, because when you start the day off on a good note, you're unstoppable. Raise the vibration and welcome Aphrodite's energy into my home. Other than that, I do what I've already talked to you about, which is offerings, lighting a candle, offering my getting ready process, offering a creative project to her. Also, all the work that I've been doing on TikTok, informing the masses about Aphrodite and beauty magic and love magic. And I don't think that Aphrodite necessarily needs me to be doing any of this work. However, I do feel like she does like that. Aphrodite is one of those goddesses that likes to be revered and worshipped and worked with and seen as a symbol of love and beauty that she is. So she is an archaic energy, and I like to think that when I make a video about her and put it out into the world and people respond kindly to it, they are also giving some of their energy to her, feeding that archaic energy that is Aphrodite. And maybe people that she wants to work with are inspired to watch those videos and then start their own working with her. I do think that that's one of the reasons why I started blowing up on TikTok talking about Aphrodite. I would ask her like, what's gonna happen and what's going on, and she would, you know, pull out the Six of Wands, and Six of Wands is virality, it's popularity, it's like recognition for creativity, your work. And I was like, okay, fame. Aphrodite and I have similar interests. I aspire for beauty and love, and that's what she is. I love attention. Like, I feed off the energy I get from people watching me. I feel like we have very similar interests when it comes to pleasure and joy. And Aphrodite is the only goddess I work with. I don't work with anyone else. So don't ask me about work with any other deity. I don't know. Thank you for joining me. I will see you later. Bye.